After a breakup, every instinct screams for action, to explain, to plead, to negotiate, to find that one magical thing to say that will undo the pain. We operate under a deep-seated belief that presence equals influence, and that absence equals defeat. So we text, we call, we try to stay relevant. And in doing so, we often hand over our last remaining shreds of power and dignity. But what if the single most powerful action you can take is not a grand gesture of communication, but a disciplined, deliberate, and complete withdrawal? This is the no-contact rule, a period of zero communication, no texts, no calls, no social media interaction, no passing messages through friends. On the surface, it looks like surrender, but beneath the surface, it is a psychological and neurological event that fundamentally rewires the dynamics of loss and desire. Today, we're not just talking about a popular breakup strategy, we are dissecting the profound psychological mechanisms that make enforced, absolute silence the most potent force you can wield. We'll explore why, from the perspective of brain chemistry, cognitive psychology, and social dynamics, this rule doesn't just help you heal. It systematically and predictably dismantles the other person's sense of control and certainty, often driving them to a state of intense preoccupation, or as it's colloquially said, crazy. A mechanism violating the law of familiarity. In inducing withdrawal, the human brain is a prediction machine. It craves patterns, routines, and familiar rewards. In a relationship, you become a consistent source of social and emotional stimulus, a part of their daily cognitive landscape. Even after a breakup, if you remain in contact, you are still a familiar, predictable variable in their equation. No contact violates this fundamental law of familiarity. It creates a sudden absolute, an unexpected vacuum where your presence used to be. This triggers a state of psychological withdrawal. Their brain, accustomed to the hit of your attention, your reactions, your emotional energy, even if negative, is now cut off from its expected supply. Neurologically, this mirrors substance withdrawal. The brain's dopaminergic reward pathways, which were activated by interactions with you, through validation, conflict, or reconciliation, are now deprived. This deprivation doesn't lead to immediate relief, it leads to craving. Their mind begins to obsessively check for the reward to you that is no longer there. The silence becomes a loud, unsettling signal their brain is compelled to resolve. You are no longer giving them data to react to, so their own mind starts generating it, in the form of curiosity, anxiety, and ultimately obsession. Mechanism 2A, the scarcity principle and perceived value inflation. Behavioral economics gives us one of the most robust psychological principles: scarcity. We instinctively assign more value to that which is limited or unavailable. When something is abundant and easily accessible, its perceived value decreases. By being constantly available post-breakup, answering calls, replying to texts, being an emotional backup, you make yourself an abundant resource. Your attention is cheap. No contact enacts an immediate and dramatic scarcity effect. Your time, attention, and emotional presence are no longer commodities on the market. They are completely withdrawn. This forces a cognitive recalibration in their mind. Their brain must now answer a new, unsettling question. If this person and their attention are now gone, what was their true value? The absence forces a reappraisal. Without new, potentially negative or needy interactions to cloud their memory, their brain naturally drifts to the peak end rule, recalling the most intense positive moments and the most recent ones. By ending all contact, you control the end moment, allowing the more positive peaks to dominate their memory. Your value, in their psyche, begins to artificially inflate because you have become a scarce, unavailable resource. Mechanism 3, shattering the ego's narrative of control. This is the most critical psychological blow. In many breakups, especially for the initiator or a more emotionally detached partner, there is an unspoken narrative of control. They believe they hold the power to dictate the terms, the pace of separation, the possibility of friendship, your emotional state. They assume they are the valuable object that you, the supplicant, are trying to retain. No contact shatters this narrative with the force of a concrete wall. By disappearing, you do the one thing their ego does not expect. You demonstrate total emotional and behavioral independence. You refuse to play your assigned role in their script. This triggers what psychologists call narcissistic injury or a profound ego threat. Their sense of control, predictability, and self-image, I am the one who is fine, moved on, in charge, is violently disrupted. The silence becomes a mirror reflecting back their own lack of influence. The thought, "Why aren't they chasing me?" transforms into, "Do they not need me? Did they move on already? Were they the one who got away?" This internal turmoil, This crisis of control and ego is what feels like being driven crazy. It's the sound of their own power fantasy collapsing in silence. Mechanism 4: the ultimate test of intent and the black hole effect. No contact serves as the universe's most unforgiving litmus test. It separates genuine, rooted love from mere attachment, habit, or ego-driven possession. If their feelings are based on a deep, authentic bond, your absence will eventually compel them to overcome their own pride and make a clear, unambiguous effort to reconnect. The silence creates the space for that genuine longing to grow. Conversely, if their connection to you was primarily about convenience, ego-stroking, or a fear of being alone, no contact will reveal that too. They may test the waters with low effort, breadcrumbs. So like a vague text to see if they can restart the supply without accountability. Your continued silence, acting as a black hole that offers no gravitational pull, no reaction, no reward, frustrates these superficial attempts. It forces them to either escalate to meaningful action or fade away, thus filtering out non-serious intentions. This process of forcing a real choice, by offering no alternative, is what makes the waiting period so agonizingly tense for them. The foundational truth: it only works if you mean. All these psychological mechanisms hinge on one non-negotiable condition: authenticity. No contact is not a manipulative 30-day trick to win someone back. It is a sacred boundary you set for your own central nervous system. Its primary purpose is your detoxification, to break the addictive cycle of hope and pain, to recalibrate your own dopamine pathways away from them, and to rebuild your identity independent of the relationship. The power it has over them is a side effect of your genuine commitment to your own healing. If you are secretly counting days, obsessing over their social media, and waiting for them to crack, the energy of neediness will leak out, and the spell is broken. True power comes from reaching a state of indifferent expectancy, where the outcome, their return or their absence, carries equal emotional weight, because your self-worth is no longer tied to it. Conclusion: silence is the arena where truth emerges. The no-contact rule drives me crazy, not because it's cruel, but because it is the ultimate confrontation with reality. It removes the noise, the drama, the chasing, and the games. It leaves only the stark, silent truth of the connection, or the lack thereof. In that silence, their ego panics, their assumptions crumble, their brain craves what it can't have, and your own soul, finally given room to breathe, begins to remember who it was before the wound. So you don't do it to drive them crazy. You do it to reclaim your own sanity. You do it to become a black hole of self-respect, a place from which no drama escapes, and into which their games disappear unanswered. And in that powerful, quiet space, only one of two things can happen: they will be compelled to return with a humility and clarity that never existed before, or they will vanish forever, proving they were never a loss, but a lesson you finally finished learning. If you're navigating this difficult space right now, share one word that describes your no-contact experience in the comments below. Is it peaceful, agonizing, freeing, confusing? Let's support each other. If this deep dive into the psychology of silence gave you strength, please like this video. It helps this channel grow and reach others in need of this clarity. Subscribe and hit the bell, because next week we're tackling the inevitable next chapter. The Hoover. How to recognize and neutralize their comeback attempt. Remember, the most powerful message you will ever send is the one you never write. Thank you for listening. Stay strong.